If you put every moment Sora has appeared in this season of adventure, how would that even be enough minutes for an episode?
Here's the new villain. We beat the new villain. We move on. Here's the new villain. We beat the new villain. We move on. Here's the new villain. We beat the new villain. We move on. Here's the new villain. We beat the new villain. We move on. Here's the new villain. We beat the new villain. We move on.
Run. Welcome to Podages, your friendly 8-legged dog bus companion to the 2020 Digimon Adventure reboot. This week we're discussing episode 57, Contact from the Catastrophe. I'm your host, Jeff Ruberg, and before we get started with this episode, I just wanted to mention, for anyone who's not aware, that I've also, the last couple of weeks, been trying out these YouTube video reviews of the same Digimon episodes, and so by the time this episode comes out, there should already be one for this episode, the Taichi episode. So I don't know, it would really mean a lot if you go check it out. They're pretty short. They're like, this one's about 10 minutes. So yeah, please check that out. Help boost the views and help maybe someday getting it discovered by the YouTube algorithm. Maybe, hopefully. I mean, they take like a ton more work, like 10 times as much work as a podcast. So if, yeah, hopefully they start to get more views in the future, or else it's not going to be sustainable. But anyway, without further ado, I'm excited to welcome back Aaron. How's it going?
It is going. I'm back for a non-Mimi main episode, though she is in one still, so she's still in the episode. Does that count? I think it does.
I think it counts. We broke the curse. Yay!
Yay, the curse is broken. But, I was, geeking out over the Rosemon episode. That was really great for me. I enjoyed that episode.
Yeah, so we're last on for 49, the one that was secretly ended up being kind of a Mimi episode.
Secret Mimi episode, Corsages.
Yeah. So of the episode since then, was the Rosemon evolution the highlight?
Rosemon was the highlight for obvious reasons, but I loved the Rebellion episode. It made the heart feel good. The Hoemon episode, I was like, wow, Sora exists. This is great. No, I actually enjoyed Hoemon. That was pretty cool at the end with the volcano turning into the big pillar. Like, I liked that. Millenniumon's like battle thing I thought was pretty cool. I enjoyed that episode as well. And Dragons, that was pretty sweet. The Hot Springs episode, I laughed at Gomamon being the bride. I really thought, oh, are we gonna get Vikemon? Nope, not at all. Vikemon is not here for whatever reason. Yeah, and then Kreskarurumon, I watched it yesterday when I was doing dishes and felt like I didn't miss much. But it was cool. I mean, like, I liked the, hey, he gets another evolution to kind of play off of, Blitz Greymon, my favorite Digimon. But yeah, no, the Rosemon one was my favorite for obvious reasons. I would have loved if we would have gotten Bancho Lilymon instead for a double Bancho fight. That would have been pretty cool. But maybe one of those Tanamon can evolve into a Bancho Lilymon, and I'll get my wish that way.
Oh yeah, I was so upset. I was like, it's like they're putting it right in front of our face, and then they're just like pulling away last minute. Like, haha, you thought Bancho character in this episode would be Bancho Lilymon, but yeah, he could, especially if Bancho Mamimon like is friendly with the school now, and like maybe we see like a whole team of Bancho Lilymon later that he inspired.
That would be cool. Or also, like, I don't know. I loved Babamon and GTmon having like features, but I was very surprised at how huge Rosemon is, because my thought the entire time that I've known this Digimon was that she's tiny like Lilymon. No, Rosemon is giantess.
Yeah, the imagery of like Mimi just sitting in Rosemon's head, and like them both, or I guess like Mimi's thumbing up from inside Rosemon's head.
Yeah,
they play at the beginning of this episode too, and it's like it's so weird.
I just want to know the physics of Palmon's evolutions, right? Because Palmon transforms into huge Togemon. I guess not as huge in this iteration of Adventure, but like in original Adventure, Togemon was huge, right? Then Lilymon blooms out of Togemon and then is tiny. And then I assumed Rosemon would just be normal human size, but evidently Rosemon is like, you know what? Togemon was large, but I'm twice that now.
Oh, not even twice, like 10 times maybe.
Probably. Maybe I should just like find a still image of Togemon and a still image of Rosemon and like see how many Togemons equals one Rosemon in height. But yeah, no, I guess that was my highlight episode. I really liked that episode. I thought it was fun. Though Wisemon being as tiny as he is also very cute and good in my book.
I wonder if he scaled the size of the book. Like if he had a giant book, he would be a giant.
Maybe the more power. What if he's the evil villain all along? and then he like can fulfill the wise man being evil thing. But yeah, I don't know. So far, I've been okay with stuff. I'm just intrigued to see how many more episodes they can get out of the series before it ends. Because now that we know that there's the new baddie, how long until we face them? Is it Yggdrasil? Oh no, it's Yggdrasil
No,
again.
no. I mean, like it by all standards of like normal pacing of anime or even Digimon seasons, it's like, oh, there's no way they could face it so quickly and be done with it so quickly. But like, also Millenniumon, they were like, oh my god, huge threat, huge threat, huge threat. Okay, we beat it. Okay, cool.
One episode.
Yeah.
Actually, I guess 2 episodes. But one episode was him awakening. Second episode, annihilated.
Yep.
But wait, he's not the ultimate big bad. You thought you won. Nope.
Yeah. What do you think about the new ending song?
I like the new ending song with the exception of one part, which is the last line, because I'm like, The weir doesn't make sense in that sentence. I don't know why, but I like it. It's fun.
I did not even notice. I don't notice lyrics.
Yeah, it's like the last line of the song. If you notice it, like grammatically, it makes no sense that they have the weir in there. But I like the like Hikari and Taichi holding hands in the Ofanimon to Omegamon thing. I thought that was kind of cool.
That looks cool. Every time I see it, I think this looks cool. Also, it's evoking the imagery of episode 21 of the original show, and this show has not pulled off anything anywhere near as emotional as that scene.
Yeah, I like how cool all of them look in the beginning of the ending with like the wind blowing and them holding their glowing digivices and stuff. And the song is a song. I'm just like kind of generic, but I like it. This is fun. I like it better than the ending that was. Let me think. How many endings ago was it? I think it was like 2 endings ago. It was after the really good ending with is it Rayo? I'm trying to remember what that artist's name is, but there was a really good ending song, and then there was like the meh ending song, but it had dancing Palman and Mimi, so I kind of forgave it. But I didn't really like that ending song, and then I like this ending, so yeah, hit or miss for me on the endings, I guess.
I feel like they've all kind of blended, aside from this one, they've all blended together in my mind because like they all, I thought were not that great, and then by the end I appreciated them. Like they grew on me each episode. But this one is like, okay, totally different genre. It's K-pop group. Like it
Hmm.
feels completely different vibe.
Yeah, I guess they're trying to go for the use the same opening the entire series thing with this. Although I would have liked if maybe 30 episodes or 40 episodes, however, if it's an 80 episode anime, 40 episodes in, if they had changed the opening.
Yeah, it's a weird choice, especially since they've had 5 ending songs. Like we could have done 2 openings and 4 endings.
We could have made this K-pop song the new opening, but I don't know. I mean, it will never equal my favorite opening song, which is one of the Savers ones, the second Savers opening, I
Oh,
think.
Harari.
Yeah, Hirari is like my favorite.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
I ended up getting that Savers soundtrack when I was in Japan at Book Off, and it's one of my favorite purchases.
Nice. I agree.
Yep. This all totally relates to episode 57.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Oh, if only anything in the show were as good as that opening. Well, anyway, let's hop in a basket full of Honey Beemon. Wait, no, that's not what happened. Let's hop in a basket uh, driven by, carried by Honey Beemon, and get pulled out of the sky by a giant eyeball into this week's episode 57, Contact from the Catastrophe, aka Cheaper by the Dozen of Taichis, aka Will the Real Taichi Please Explode, aka Among Us, the Taichi expansion. And the spoiler policy, like always, we will talk about everything in the Crunchyroll episode, which includes the title and preview for next week, and we might spoil everything in the original adventure or Zero Two, but we will give you warnings if we spoil any other season, and we won't talk about any titles or synopses beyond next week. But I do want to have, if you're down for it, a segment at the end where we talk about the titles and synopses for 58, 59, and 60 that have been released.
Sounds good.
But that'll be at the very, very end after the ending song and stuff. So yeah, this week on Digimon Adventure: parentheses 2020 square back of the Adventure of Taichi. Taichi follows the Digivice carried by a trio of Honey Beemon, sent by Wisemon, who happen to be passing by. Taichi checks on the other kids, and then they're pulled out of the sky by a giant floating eye, and they meet a bunch of Algamon who appear benign. Really, it's the music that makes them feel benign. And they turn into a new humanoid form. The new humanoid form mentions that they were created to execute a mission and that everything they do is the will of their creator. And then they capture Taichi and hide him amongst dozens of Taichis. Agumon explains that Agumon needs to free the real Taichi to escape, that the fakes are rigged to explode, and that the real Taichi will die soon. Agumon fails over and over and decides to free them all, but then needs some inspiration, reflects on how Taichi would never give up, and then just shouts really hard and destroys all the fakes. And then
Mm-hmm.
Agumon evolves over and over, kills swarms of Agumon, and they escape the pocket dimension. And Agumon leaves on an ominous message about their creator beginning to move, and the end coming soon, and dramatic music swells. Ugh, I'm exhausted by that recap.
Yeah, no, I didn't realize until you gave the recap. Algamon, Agumon, they
Yeah,
sound way too similar.
yeah, I when I was reading the script for the video review, I like made an effort to be like Algamon, Algamon, Algo, like really emphasizing the L, and it's hard to do, especially when talking naturally.
Hmm.
I guess it could be easier. I mean, if you pronounce it Argomon, but I think it's
Yeah.
still they sound really similar.
Yeah, I noticed on the card game they romanized it as Argomon instead of Algomon, and so I was like, it's weird that the card game is Argomon and then the anime is Algomon.
Yeah, I think. Let me double check this live, but I think there is like a precedent from one of the like the card games generally going by the official Bandai localization names from video games and dubs and stuff, and or the English dub and stuff. And I
Hmm.
think one of the video games used an R years ago,
Oh, okay.
so I think that's why the card game does it. But
See, maybe maybe Bandai chose the R years ago because they realized Agumon sounds so similar, and they knew that Jeff would be having this problem doing a video podcast for the later,
yeah, they
video
knew
recap.
they saw it coming. And I mean, using the R is not unfounded. Like
Yeah,
the name is a reference to it's reference to like an algorithm, which I mean should be an L,
yeah.
but also to like a Greek mythological thing, Argos Panoptes. So it's like
Hmm.
one of those references is an L, one of those is an R. Japanese is both. You got to pick in English, and
Yeah, that's true. I was thinking, I was like, is it algorithm or is it, Argo or something? But see, you have taught me that there are multiple. It was a pun. There we go.
oh yeah. So apparently in Digimon World Dawn and Dusk, they went with the R. So I guess the card game's just copying that. The thing that I find the most bizarre is that the like this anime is a weird mix of the the names of Digimon is always the I don't know what you even call these terms, but it's like the more literal transliterations,
Hmm.
the romanizations, like using an L. But also, I guess it's more apparent for things like Ogremon, where they spell it Orjamon.
Yeah.
So they're going with the more like not the dub terms, but they
Hmm.
are going with the dub terms for form names like Mega and Ultimate and stuff.
Yeah, I noticed that as well.
But the weird thing is that in Algomon's appearance in Japanese, they also did that because like there's a distinction between like all
Hmm.
the Algomon forms are just named Algomon and then like Mega or whatever. But like in the Japanese version of Digimon, so like not Digimon World Dawn and Dusk, but in
Hmm.
Japanese it was Digimon Story Sunburst and Moonlight.
Hmm.
It was Arugomon MG or Arugomon Mega. And it's
Hmm.
like, but the Japanese version of Digimon doesn't use that term Mega.
Yeah, that's weird.
So that's bizarre, and that's a weird factoid about Algamon of the day.
Well, keep them coming. Yeah, no, speaking of Digimon World, Dawn and Dusk, those games, the aesthetic is amazing. I loved them. And then when I tried to replay them a couple of years ago, I was just like, wow, I hate a random encounter every 5 steps.
Oh, yeah, I feel like I've heard such. I thought for years I heard really positive things, and then I started hearing really negative things, and now I don't even know.
Yeah, no, like it's really like the story's great, the aesthetic is great, like they're super fun, but like you just have to go in knowing, every 10 steps, I'll have a random encounter, and I'm either going to have to run away or I'm going to have to beat it. And see, like, Cyber Sleuth, at least when I played it, I remember that it's not that bad, but you still have the random encounter rates and stuff that are a little bit more than I would enjoy. But I guess, what's the option? You have Pokemon Grass in there.
I mean, didn't Cybersooth it gave you like ways to like adjust the encounter rate?
Yeah, it did. It did definitely, and there were items you could use and other things, but yeah, not Not that I remember for Dawn and Dusk, though. Don't quote me on that because I haven't touched it in a couple years. If there is a way, that I am sure that I will see a comment about it in the Discord, and I will know.
And you will be shamed off the internet.
I'll be shamed off the internet, but then I can go back and play them again and be happy. So it's all good.
Well, you can tell by how much we drifted away from this episode that it maybe wasn't the best episode.
I like Algamon. There we go.
His new sexy form.
His new form is cool. I've always liked his new form. I like his cute form. I don't like the one in between because it's kind of gross looking.
Which one? The one that's like has like metal hands?
Yeah, that one, the creepy one. Yeah, I'll take cute or sexy for 500. Those are fine. No, I mean like I laughed when Taichi and Agumon got sucked up by the eye. Like I was telling you earlier in my notes, like I took notes for the episode and I just drew an eyeball with a vacuum sucking, them up into the air. But I was like, what is it with the digital world that they get Seraphimon and then, or wait, not Seraphimon,
Sephirothmon?
the eyeball one that was in
Yeah.
Frontier that I can't say the name correct. They get that first, and now they get Algamon's eyeball. What is like is the final boss gonna be like 100 Eye Dragonmon? I don't know.
I actually was thinking about that Sephirothmon scenario because, like, like they talk about this being this test, and I'm like, are they gonna pull, out of the hat a couple episodes later, like now they can use Agumon's evolutions because they observed it within the pocket dimension?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wait, that's just the Sephirothmon scenario that just happened a couple, like 10 episodes ago.
I mean, they could repeat it, or what if Lucamon is the
Oh
final
no!
boss
Oh
again?
no!
No, wait, it'll be Yggdrasil, Lucamon, and Venom Myotismon, and the Dark Masters and Apocalypmon. There we go.
Just all the greatest hits, like
All the greatest hits at once.
this. Okay, this episode felt so meta. I mean, was it actually inspired by fan feedback? Probably not, but like the fact that like after weeks of complaining about too much Taichi, they actually were like, "Here you go. Here's all the Taichi." It's funny. The fact that and the fact that like the Taichi that was the real one was the most bland one who like said nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like that also felt like a meta commentary that I'm sure it was not actually. I know, but like it's still funny. And if they, the final villain in the end was like, "Here you go. Here's your favorites. Here's what you wanted. Here, just take them, please. Let us stop the show." That would be funny.
See, I actually like when I think about it now. It's kind of interesting if you think about all the episodes before now when everyone's getting their like new megas and like doing their crest stuff that it feels like every time Taichi kind of is just like, I tried and I didn't do anything productive, so you get to be shining and doing your mega fun time. So is this some commentary that like, maybe Taichi in the original series was just too overpowered and this Taichi is kind of like, I can't do everything. How about you actually get a minute to do something cool? I don't
No,
know.
I think what it's saying, I think what they're really going to go for is that. So Taichi's been in all those episodes, right? And he didn't help
Yeah.
out in all those times where he could have helped out. I think he's the final villain. Like he's
Taichi's
going to let them suffer.
Am I the villain of this season? Sorry. Yeah, no. Taichi is just making them suffer. He's the final villain.
Yeah.
I mean, if we got Black War Greymon, I wouldn't be opposed. I love
Oh yeah.
Black War Greymon.
Anything that gets us there, I would accept. But yeah, okay. The scenario of Agumon resolving this clone thing. First off, I like that Agumon got a lot of like character focus. Like it was kind of more Agumon's episode than Taichi's episode.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool.
I mean, Shining Agumon.
Yeah, but like the resolution to the clone situation, I felt like it was not satisfying logically. And I'll point out what I think is weird about the logic of it, or emotionally. Like logically, I think there are like two competing theories of what actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them is that Agumon realized at the end that none of them were the real Taichi because the real Taichi would never give up.
Uh-huh.
And so like all these Taichis have been giving up, so like they can't all be him. And then he decides to kill them all. But I don't think that is true because we see that the real one was there, just like further back and like held up higher. And also like one of the fake Taichis sounded 100% like they believed in Agumon, like oh, none of these Taichis would do this, and it's like, but one of them did that.
Yeah, I mean the more sinister thing you can believe is that they're all facets of Taichi's personality that Agumon was destroying, you know. But
That would have been a cool way. Like the fact that they had this like scenario and didn't really explore Taichi's character. Well, I guess they kind of did because they got Agumon to reflect on how he'd never give up. But like, yeah, they weren't showing any sides of him. They were just, I don't know. So I've seen some people say that they think that the theory was that, or what happened was that Agumon realized none of them were the real Taichi. But I think instead what was happening was just that the way it was spelled out was like, okay, if you cut a fake Taichi, they explode, but like that doesn't hurt the real Taichi. So I think he just realized, okay, I can just cut them all down.
like at first I was almost confused and thought it was hurting the real Taichi because at the end when he's like hanging like by
Mm,
his neck he looks pretty beaten up, but yeah, I guess it's not really hurting the real one.
yeah, so I think he just was like, oh well, I guess I'll just keep. I think he decided like at one point he says I'll just cut them all down, but then he
Yeah.
just gets distracted by the Taichis who would keep whining or not whining. I shouldn't say whining. That sounds mean. It honestly felt like Agumon just kind of had ADD and like had a plan, but then got
Mhm.
distracted because all the Taichis were in pain, and then he just magically got an attack that could take them all in one go. But also, he could have used Baby Flame the whole time. He has a projectile attack. He didn't need to claw them up close. Like,
He was getting
Agumon.
all of his frustration out. Like, you need some people need a punching bag. He needs to make Taichi explode.
Yeah, he's channeling the audience's rage.
Maybe the real root for this episode is if he blew up enough Taichis, he would evolve into Mugendramon.
Yeah, his Tai Chi kill count.
Yeah. It has to be 666 Taichis destroyed before he can be
But
Mugendramon.
I think it's also like the episode leaves us in a weird place. Like the emotional resolution, I kind of was like, oh, so he didn't know the real Taichi. Like that's the what I'm left with is like he didn't know the real one, and he just like won on a technicality or like exploded them all. So like I don't know. Like it's neat they didn't go
Yeah.
for the like very cliched like oh the first time he believes in his gut he gets the right answer the first time.
Yeah, of course he would know the real Taichi. See, like, it almost feels weird because I feel like in all the Digimon series, like up till now, like some incredibly deep connection with the partner Digimon, or like knowing their partner completely is kind of how they get to Mega, or knowing something about themselves or something. But it feels like getting to Mega in this, since it has nothing to do with the crest, it's like
Well, does
so.
it? I mean, some kind of maybe because some of their crests start like
I
it appears
mean,
in the Digivice after they got to Mega, but not for Taichi. So,
yeah, what I've learned is if you jump enough broomsticks, then you can get a giantess. So if I jump enough broomsticks in Resident Evil Village, I'll get Lady Dimitrescu. No, I don't know. Like, I guess for Taichi, not really, but for the others, yeah. I mean, like, you had, like, Yamato being very friendship driven, and that's how, he gets, Metal Garurumon and then, like, Crest Garurumon and stuff. But yeah, I'm kind of wondering where they're going to go from here for if they're going to give Taichi any more character development or something, like with Agumon. Maybe that'll be the key to, Omegamon. I don't know.
yeah, it's just like the fact that the fact that the crests on their Digivices are acting so weird and like showing up at various that it's not directly one to one with when they unlock Mega Evolution
Yeah.
just feels so contrived to me. Like it's so like even when people have theories of why they're showing up and stuff, and you point out like, okay, well then why were these exceptions there? And then it's like, oh, well because they clearly need Taichi to go somewhere else, and it's like
Yeah.
that shouldn't be. That's such a clear like sign of like the hands of the writers moving the pieces of the chessboard along, and that shouldn't be there in the narrative itself. It should be. I don't know. It should be more elegant, and it's just I don't know. But like, I guess for the target demo for little kids, I guess they're not going to raise these questions. They're just going to be like, okay, cool. He needs to follow the compass. I don't know.
If I'm remembering correctly, I think I saw on Twitter the other day something about like the people seeing the Digimon exhibit currently in Japan as mostly children, but they've got a bunch of like foreigners who are adults going to see it.
Oh,
So
interesting.
like maybe I don't know. Are we the weird outlier demographic? Are Japanese adults not watching this? Like that were into Digimon too? I don't know. I'd have to look into Twitter more for that. But I mean, maybe they just want a simple story. But I still would like to feel some like valid reason why I should like care about like the relationships between all the Digidestin and their partners. You know?
Yeah, and I'm like, I guess on a base level, that's there because we have these are iconic characters and we have a pre-existing relationship with them.
Yeah.
Like, like I love Joe just because Joe is Joe, not because of anything he actually did in these episodes. So
I feel like right, like I wish this series could like stand alone from the others and be able to like not just rely on I mean, I guess for some people, right? Like for these kids watching it, it's not relying on nostalgia if they've never watched it, before, but like I don't know, I feel like I don't know if I would care as much about these characters if I hadn't have watched the original Digimon series.
yeah, for sure. But I mean, speaking of the other kids, we did get. It was kind of neat to get a little check in on the other kids this episode. Like
Mhm.
that's what I really felt was lacking from. I wasn't in all the other episodes. I wasn't so frustrated that Taichi appeared at all. I was just
Yeah.
frustrated that like he would be with a character until the end of the episode, then next week show up in a completely different location
Mhm.
and say nothing of the character that he had left. And it's like,
Yeah.
weren't you with Mimi? Where'd Mimi go? Like,
Yeah.
explain something. And so, like, this episode, getting to see him check in on the other characters, even though they only, Mimi and Sora were, like, just there for, like, a still, and we didn't
Yeah.
actually get to see them talk, at least we got to see that, like, they're there. And also, Tailman's stuck in the onsen, really doesn't want to get out of the onsen.
That was really funny. I did like that moment of the episode. I was like, "Oh, Tailmon, you can't count to 20." But I was excited to see Koshiro finally being like, "I think I'll finally go out myself." I'm like, "Alter Kabuterimon." Not alter Hercules Kabuterimon. I still wish that like we would have had some form of answer why in that awesome epic should have been Hercule Kabuterimon Mega Evolution episode when his crest flashed, we got nothing. Maybe we'll get an answer, maybe we won't ever, but
In that the one when Blitzsquaremon appeared?
yeah, I think maybe. It was the one where they were having the countdown for the I think the something missiles or something hitting
Oh,
Tokyo.
the space station.
Space station, that was what it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Because it wasn't his time. It
it
wasn't ready
wasn't his
yet.
time. Yeah, he had not fully blossomed into Hercule Kabuterimon. I still can't get over Tentomon's VA being people from all sorts of other things. But anyway,
Yeah, being like 10 different characters in Grand Blue Fantasy.
yes.
Yeah. Also, I really liked, and it's kind of weird because like as I've been working on this video, like I've watched a lot of the footage of the episode without
Hmm.
music, and the stretch in the beginning when they first like appear in the pocket dimension and the
Hmm.
Agumon are like making contact with them before they turn into the humanoid form and stuff.
Hmm.
And without music, it's hard. You don't really get this vibe. But with the music, it made them seem so benign. Like
Yeah.
and it was a really nice surprise watching it because I was like, okay, this is gonna be they're totally evil, no shade of gray. And there was like lots of shades of gray. But then by the end of the episode, it was like no more shades of gray. Let's murder all of them. And I was like, oh, I guess they're not. Maybe. Am I getting my hopes up too high by thinking maybe they might be good in the end?
Like, I would like them to be like a neutral party.
Mm-hmm.
They might be saying, there's this big baddie, but it would have been cooler to be like, you thought we were the villain, but we're really just kind of a neutral overseer type thing. Because I don't know, I feel like I mean, it's a kid's show, but at the same time, I feel like it would be too predictable to be like, Algamon is completely 100% evil.
I mean, it would be cool. One thing I could see them doing would be that like they made this contact with Taichi and they observed Taichi and maybe their creator is fully 100% evil,
Yeah.
but Algamon themselves is like they learn from Taichi and then like they'll turn on their creator at the very end or
Yeah.
something. And
Yeah, that could be cool. Cliche, but I welcome it.
yeah, cliche, but at this point, like cliche is better than no character development. So
Yeah. So who do you think the big villain is based on the eyeball that we saw at the end?
I don't. I hope it's something that no one can predict. Like I hope it's not based on anything already. I hope it's not Lucimon, because there was also they didn't show this episode, but in previous things they've hinted at this thing. They've shown like a larva, and I'm like, oh no, not another Lucimon larva mode. Like,
I mean, it it can still very well be Eyeballmon. You never know.
But yeah, I hope it's something completely new and exciting because the completely new Digimon that have premiered in the show have been pretty interesting,
Hmm.
except for Newtogmon. That wasn't that interesting.
I was gonna say when we were talking about the previous episodes, is Rebellion an original or is he a pre-existing Digimon?
I think he's original. I think he's like the wave of Digimon that came out in the Pendulum Z a couple
Oh,
months
okay.
ago.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like he premiered in the Pendulum Z2, so in March.
Okay, because I very much liked him.
Yeah, he was a very cool. I mean, it's very Digimon, just like Mad Max. Is he a motorcycle or
Yes.
a unicycle?
Y-
I think he might
You
be a unicycle.
unicycle, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that in the episode that he's just a unicycle.
Yeah.
That makes it even funnier.
Also, how did you feel about the Honey Beemon? Did you like the nod to more like digimental of knowledge, or did you feel the same way as the random one before?
I mean, it's cute, but like, does how do they not see that it's kosher as crest on these Digimon? Like, don't they see the connection? Like, oh, this elaborate mystery of the crests. Meanwhile, we have it on our faces, and like, what?
It's just everywhere around you, but you can't make the connection.
Like, isn't it like, aren't there like War Greymon has the crest of courage
Yeah.
on his shield, right?
Yeah.
But Black War Greymon does not.
Hmm.
Wouldn't I would expect these armor evolutions to just like take off the crests from the design. Is that sacrilegious? I don't know.
Yeah, I just want to know what provoked them when they made the series to be like, we're gonna have all these digimental evolutions show up to be. Is it like Easter eggs, or is it supposed to actually serve some purpose? I don't
I mean,
know.
I don't think it's like there have been a bunch of them, but I don't think that's completely new for Digimon.
Hmm.
Um, like Tamers had a bunch of random armor evolutions as like enemies of the week in the first arc. I
Yeah.
mean, the Honeybeemon showed up as Randomon's fan club in Frontier.
Hmm.
So like, I don't know if it's any more than those, or at least like
Hmm.
they've shown up in enough meaningless ways before that
Hmm.
I don't think it's that weird.
I was not sure if I was the only one who was thinking like, wow, there's quite a lot of them.
Yeah, well, I guess it also by having a bunch of them like 0 2
Hmm.
actual Digimental evolutions maybe are not in the cards, or are they more or less in the cards because of these? I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like have I don't remember seeing any 0 2 like main cast style evolution besides Pegasmon
Right.
in here so far.
Oh, and Panchamon.
Oh, and Panchomon. Yeah, but I was meaning like the ones that we saw them digivolve to on the show.
Right. I think those would be kind of sacrilegious if they appeared and it was like not the character that everyone knew.
Hmm.
Have they ever? I can't think of any of those characters have shown up in other seasons as random.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But I
Yeah.
also don't have a digit database of all the episodes in my head.
Overall, this episode, I feel like it reminded me a lot of the worst parts of Lost. How familiar are you with Lost? I forget if we talked about Lost before.
I have watched 0 episodes of Lost, but
Okay.
I know of pop culture references to Lost.
Yeah, because like I'll defend Lost. I think Lost is amazing. But like if you're only interested in Lost for the lore, it can be pretty disappointing. A lot of episodes feel like the actual like lore did not move along. Like you just raise one question and don't answer any questions. And
Hmm.
that's what this one felt like. We raised one question, or like now the question that was introduced is who is Algamon's creator? But like we didn't answer anything really, and also we kind of could have assumed that Algamon had a creator. Like I kind of
Hmm.
was, you know, if you
Yeah.
think about it, like it's kind of logical that that has to be the case. But the thing, the saving grace of Lost is that even though the lore stuff is often unsatisfying, it's the character writing that makes the show actually really good.
Hmm.
And this Digimon episode and the series in general does not have the character writing to redeem that.
Hmm.
So it's just okay, a lore episode. Oh, not much lore there. Okay, all right.
It feels like this Digimon series will have like let's say every 4 episodes. I mean, it's probably not exactly that, but like every 4 episodes, there'll be a really strong character episode. It's like, wow, this is a really good
Hmm.
standout episode. And then the next few ones will be kind of meh. And it's like, did you use up all your writing juice for like that episode? And then just kind of decide the rest of them are kind of like, eh. I'll phone it in. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess they have their animation juice, their writing, the character writing juice, the
Hmm.
cool fight scene juice, and they just like mix them all around, I guess. And it's like it always makes me I don't know what the next episode's going to be. I guess that's cool.
I do kind of like at least that they're trying to keep they actually brought up the Algamon again, and like it wasn't just kind of a throwaway plot device where they're like, oh, we had them battling Algamon a couple times. Like that's cool to me at least that Algamon is coming back and having a more significant role later. But um, I don't know. I guess I'll have to wait until we see the like conclusion to see how I feel about it. But at least they didn't just completely forget about that. Like our favorite little bat bird, bird
Soundbirdmon.
soundbirdmon. See,
Did
I
you see
can't.
them? They were in the end.
They were in the end. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
they were with the Agumon talking to their creator thing.
Maybe I assumed that they wouldn't care about them, and I didn't notice.
Well, that's the thing. Like, it is nice that this is like looping back around to the beginning. It makes the whole, hopefully, presumably, makes the whole series feel like it's like of a piece and planned from the beginning, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's cool. But like the fact that before we had any inclination of this episode, like last week, if you or a couple weeks ago, if you saw the
Mm-hmm.
spoilers and the synopses and stuff, like before we knew this episode was coming,
Mm-hmm.
the fact that we thought Algamon had been fully dealt with
Yeah.
and was just like this surprise that we thought Algamon was a tactic of Devimon, who was, or like that Algamon was a sub boss of Devimon, who was a sub boss of
Mm-hmm.
Millenniumon, and then it's like surprise, actually Algamon was the one above those two. It's like that's only possible because the villains have been so not fleshed out that like
Yeah.
like if they had actually had discussions of what their purposes were, you couldn't pull this card, and it's like, yeah,
Mm-hmm. I feel like to me, so far in the series, like it sucks that Millenniumon was like one of the coolest fights because like he doesn't really stick in my head as like the main bad guy of like the first part. I really feel like Devimon was like I don't know, kind of cooler in my opinion.
hmm.
I don't know, like I remember his design more. I remember his fight more. Um Yeah, I mean, like I thought the Millenniumon fight was cool, but maybe it's just because Devimon is such like a strong presence in the original series that I kind of felt more attached to Devimon. But
Yeah, I feel like they talked about Millennium more, but like that, I like the Devimon fight lasted several episodes and like felt like there
yeah,
was a lot more weight to it. So
yeah,
that's yeah,
I think that's probably why I kind of feel that way. Like that being said, the animation for the Millenniumon actual fight episode was awesome. I really thought it was like they used all of their animation juice on that one. It was very good.
yeah,
Yeah, no, I felt more of a connection, I guess, to Devimon, the Millenniumon, when all was said and done.
yeah. I really appreciate the fact that we got the Millennium fight and then a couple weeks later the Rebellion fight, because I think
Yeah.
those two like show two different strengths in animation. Like
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the Millennium fight wasn't actually like really like superb Sakuga quality cuts of animation. It was
Yeah.
just directed really well that made us feel the weight and the size and the scale of
Yeah.
everything. And it was just directed in a really cool way. And
Mm-hmm.
then Rebellion was like these fights are like they're not grand scale. They're just like
Mm-hmm.
a unicycle with a chainsaw in a desert, like fighting other little floaty balls with chainsaws against a big guy with an axe. Like it's very
Yeah.
basic and simple, but it was animated with such flourish that it was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh man, this actually looks really cool. So
Yeah. And you feel like such a strong connection. But yeah, no, I'm hopeful for what is going to come. Hopefully we get some cool stuff with with Algamon and then with whoever the mystery baddie is. If it's Yggdrasil, I cash in my chips. Because I
I
can't
mean,
handle another
like
Yggdrasil.
Algamon is plant esque, right? Like it could tie into a
Yeah,
tree thing.
it could. I mean, like, maybe it'll be is Cherrymon the really old tree Digimon? What if it's Cherrymon? What if it's just
That
a
would be
big old
such a
bad
random
tree
pull.
for the ending? I would be down.
I hate how Algamon. It only was really apparent in this episode, but like if you look up the other like artwork for
Mm-hmm.
Algamon's the new humanoid form,
Yeah.
um, which is not actually that new. Like, it's weird because like it's kind of confusing looking up the history of that form because in the Savers movie when Algamon premiered,
Mm-hmm.
the ultimate or perfect form was kind of a mix of the two forms we've seen.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was giant and had the big worm tentacle things, but
Mm-hmm.
also had a face and hands and stuff.
Yeah.
But he wasn't like a single humanoid figure standing on his own. But then if you look up artwork of that design that has showed up since 2007,
Mm-hmm.
it was always humanoid standing alone like we saw this episode. So it's not really new for the
Mm-hmm.
show, I guess. But he has like in all the other bandit artwork has like feathers and like
Mm-hmm.
shoulder pads made of fluffy feathers, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
but you're a tree. Why do you have feathers? What? Where do these birds come from? What? This doesn't fit the theme at all.
Mm-hmm.
This no would not be a good runway look.
Oh my gosh. No, with our luck, it would be the most hailed runway look of the week. Yeah, no.
Well, let's move on to through reviews. So at CRR McRae said, "Evil Eye intensifies." That rhymed, kind of.
Yeah, sounds like a rhyme to me. At Dak and Jackster says, "Spot the difference."
Which Agumon did not do. Just killed them all, which works. Andy Lucas OE said, "It's like poetry," which I have to assume is a reference to the whole George Lucas Star Wars. It's like poetry, it rhymes. But what does this rhyme with? I guess the fact that Agumon came back? I guess? I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure. At CC Takado, Algamon was creepy. Creepy, sexy. Is there really that big of a difference? Yes, children. Yes.
Bakuman22 said, "Play hashtag Pokemon Go Fest 2021."
At Dracomon22, Tai is tied up. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize that until I read it. Anyway.
Yeah, I didn't either. I was just thinking about how I've seen at least one fan artist that I follow who was like, seemed very into the idea of Tai being held up by the tentacles
Oh my
in a way that I was
god.
not totally comfortable with.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
I don't shame, but no, thank you.
At least it is a male character, not a female character. I'll give them that.
That's true.
Yeah. Kurito Prime said, "Taichi's inconsistent size." Oh, and this may have come with attachments, and I lost them when I put it in the outline. But yeah, like one shot he's on War Greymon and is like as tall as War Greymon's head, and the other shot he's like half War Greymon's head size. Yeah.
I mean, maybe Tai can digivolve as well.
Maybe War Greymon like live resizes based on how much courage Taichi has. Like he just
Oh
gets
my
bigger when Taichi's
gosh.
courage gets bigger.
That would be hilarious. At PDX Anime, another ominous silhouette.
Yeah, that's the main character of the show, ominous silhouettes. Joseph Snowsif, I think we're going to agree, said Algamon was hot.
Algamon is nice looking. At Jason26, Alter Blade debut.
Oh yeah, so this I feel bad I barely even noticed in the sequence of Agumon evolving to each form and attacking that he's I guess never actually named the attack where he like makes a big glowing beam and then attacks people with the Alterous mode blade, and this time actually called it out and called it Alter Blade. So technically a debut.
I was so used to just seeing it that I assumed it had always been said. That shows you how much I pay attention in Taichi themed episodes.
Yeah, I feel like this reminds me also of the moment where in like episode 17 when they're fighting Orochimaru, whenever that was, and like a lot of people made a big deal about Metal Greymon using his is it Giga Blaster for the first time? I think it's Giga Blaster. Like he had used Giga Storm before that, and then Giga Blaster, and it's like Giga Blaster debut, and I'm like, okay, meh, I don't know, but yeah. Well, NNM Podcast said Joe Keto entrepreneur. Yeah, he franchised the onsen, which I guess it's good for him. I don't know.
I mean, he should help revive some of these struggling onsen in Japan. Come on, Joe Keto, I believe in you. At Bored Individual, Taichi shows range.
Kind of. Other Taichis showed range.
Yeah, other Taichi showed range. He kind of just hung in there. He's like that 1970s poster of the cat, except for instead of hanging on the tightrope, he's being hung by, hanged.
I think it's both, but yeah, the hang in there motivational poster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's him.
I also thought it was once he takes on all the Taichis and there's just the one left, and it's like, oh, so he's the one that's actually being held up by an Agumon and
Mm-hmm.
has the device and is next to a rock and is further back. Like there were a lot of signs.
You know, Agumon is very courageous, but they never said that Agumon was smart.
You know what I just realized in distinguishing Algomon and Agumon,
Mm-hmm.
we should be pronouncing Agumon like Terry Bradshaw in the Digibowl. We should say Agumon.
Agumon. Well,
Agumon and
let's
Agumon.
Agumon. Agumon. All right. Well, I mean, we can always start.
Yeah. Well, last third review from Happy X2 Meeting. Wisemon approved ebooks. Yep, he's an ebook reader. He saves the environment.
I think one of my favorite things in this iteration is how cute and tiny Wisemon is.
Yeah. Well, moving on to listener comments and questions. First off, from Dak and Jackster said, "Pretty nifty episode. Would have been a good concept for Wargreymmon's debut. It reminded me a bit of the ending to Spirited Away." I honestly don't remember the ending of Spirited Away very well.
I'm trying to. All right, so like she falls through the sky because she remembers who Haku is, and then after that, it's fuzzy. I haven't seen Spirited Away in a few years. I know she gets her family, and they're not pigs anymore, and she lives happily ever after? Question mark. Oh my gosh, I can't remember the ending of Spirited Away.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Spirited Away has lots of really cool, iconic set pieces and like setups. But
Yeah.
yeah, the actual resolution I'm hazy on.
Like, I went to the place in Taiwan that they based the bathhouse on,
Oh.
and it was super cool because it actually does kind of look like it. But yeah, no, I don't remember much of the end of that movie. But I remember I liked it. That should count for something.
Yeah. And the message was don't pollute,
Don't pollute.
save the environment.
The more Algamon you destroy, the more Digisludge we have to clean up later.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I agree that like it could have been kind of cool for like a War Greymon debut. I just wish we would have had like a little more like I think if we had had some like real reason that he's just like I know it's Taichi because X or I know none of these are Taichi
Hmm.
because of X, then I think it would have been a little more strong for a War Greymon debut.
Yeah, because I feel like I'm left thinking that like, oh, Agumon figured it out based on a technicality, or like it doesn't feel like, oh, their bond is so strong.
Don't you mean Agumon?
Oh, sorry, Agumon, not Agumon. uh, yeah. So yeah, I was kind of torn by that. I was like, this. It does feel more emotionally. It feels like a bigger signifier episode than
Mm-hmm.
Wargreymmon's actual debut, but also
Mm-hmm.
still doesn't quite feel like it is the sign of like them really being a perfect pair.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, PDX Anime said, "Wow, what an emotionally resonant and deep episode. This really gets the bond and relationship of Taichi and Agumon. What a great time to earn Wargreymon, right? Right? But really, for all the Taichi needs to be present for plot episodes, this feels so forced to encounter Agumon." Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess I actually wasn't sure reading this if it was sarcastic or because
Yeah.
I can't. I feel like you can have two. You can say this is actually a good hallmark of their bond and their relationship being strong, or
Or it's not depending on your viewpoint. Yeah.
yeah,
I think like either point is valid depending on what you view as like the conditions for like the, War Greymon fun times. I I do wonder like if we had I mean obviously we wouldn't because he's the main character, right? But if we had another character encounter Algamon, would it have gone down differently? I don't know. I feel like we could have had a pretty similar resolution for most of these pairs.
yeah. I mean, I think the idea of it feeling forced that Taichi encountered Agumon, like I hope that there's actually a payoff to like why Agumon
Yeah.
wanted to observe Taichi, but
Yeah.
I also totally keeping my expectations realistic that like there probably isn't going to be a reason, but it's possible that it doesn't feel forced in the end.
Mhm.
I think Agumon could tell who's the main character and like, well, I always need to watch this guy.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, Joseph Snosif asked, I thought the humanoid Agumon looked like a dark fusion of Lilymon and Angemon, and thought the design was really cool. Is that a new character, or are they from a past game/series? Yeah, so I guess I mentioned briefly earlier before that like
Mhm.
they were kind of worked into the design of the Algamon Ultimate or Perfect form in the Savers movie, but they weren't really standalone. And like within a year, like the movie came out at the end of 2006, and by 2007 there was a card in the card game that was that like fully humanoid form. So, and it's weird because like the other Algamon Ultimate or Perfect form in this show doesn't have any of the face or hands or anything.
So, fun fact for you was years and years ago when that original Algamon humanoid perfect came out. My sister and I, when we were growing up together, she liked Lilymon the best, and I liked Anjumon series,
You're the reason.
and so we had a DNA digivolution of Lilymon and Anjumon that was Algamon. So that's kind of funny they would have that common in there. I also had like my partner at one point when I had like I went through cycles of different Digimon partners, and one of them was Anubismon. I really liked Anubismon,
Oh, that's an
but
interesting pick.
yeah, yeah, I don't remember all of my pre-Digivolutions for Anubismon, but I think I made up a couple original ones. But yeah, I know at one point my sister and I did have the we'll get along for a minute to DNA Digivolve, but that's it. And she graduated to Lilamon and instead. So
Oh, I'm sorry, but that seems like questionable taste to me. Like Lilamon over Lilymon?
yeah, I think that the problem with her is she just got so sick of only adventure, and she was like, you know what,
Hmm.
I could just have savers instead.
Okay, that's fair. If it's about like the season they're from, okay.
Yeah. But no, funny that Joseph Snosif would mention that because, yeah, that's actually what happened in my past.
Well, okay. Dracomon22 said, "Ladies, gentlemen, and variations thereupon, our final villain. Are we hyped? I swear to God, if it's another nonsense big Digimon, I'll quit Digimon." Yeah, I could see them, like I was mentioning before, like maybe we get more, like Algamon having a turn, and they don't actually characterize the villain themselves. They just characterize Algamon some more.
yeah. I mean, like I said before, with all of my theories for what the villain is going to be, I personally think it would be fun if they had some Digimon that was like traditionally a good Digimon be the final baddie or something like have a Zulongmon or something. I don't know. Have something kind of cool for the baddie at the
Hmm.
end.
Yeah,
But
like some kind of reason for like kind of like maybe the idea that's behind Yggdrasil, but without actually being so. Like kind of a
yeah.
like benign creator who there's some problem that needs to be solved, so let's be more aggressive in solving it than like
Mhm.
attack the human world or something. Which
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that like if they take the motivation Yggdrasil and put it in a new form that's not called Yggdrasil,
Mhm.
I'd be okay with that. I think.
I don't need any more Iggy right now. Only Iggy I need is cute Iggy that just got her final uncap in Grand Blue.
I was gonna say, have you uncapped her already?
Yep. She's at level 97, almost to
Oh,
100. But yeah, no, I'm excited for the final villain. I'm hyped. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully I don't get disappointed. Um, all I do know is when I finish this series, I'm going to go back and watch Frontier because I haven't ever watched the full series and I'd like
oh,
to.
yeah. I think I am hyped. Like as much as I said that, like the one question this episode raised was like an kind of an obvious question that we could have seen coming. Like it connects logically. Like it wasn't actually new information.
Hmm.
As much as I say that, like framing this ultimate villain as being like the creator, it just sounds cool. Like I am kind of a sucker for that. Like thinking of like
Yeah.
who's the final villain? It's the creator. Like that makes me hype. Like I don't know.
Yeah. Ooh, what if we get like Izanagimon or Izanamimon or something? That'd be fun.
What is wait? How are you spelling that?
So Izanagi and Izanami are like the creation gods in Japanese mythology.
Oh,
And like when they created Japan, uh, because the man wasn't in charge the first time, it didn't go well. And then, yeah, very, very gendered and like sexist.
oh no.
But regardless, the gods like created Japan, so maybe we have some sort of like cool creator god. Hopefully they don't say like we didn't mean to create the digital world because we did things in the wrong order and we're sexist. That would be great to not
Yeah.
have.
Also, apparently they were sibling
Oh yeah, they're
siblings
siblings. Yes,
and married. So
siblings and married.
yeah, just reading like the first Wikipedia, the first sentence on Wikipedia says like he and his sister wife. I'm like, nope,
Mm-hmm.
I never want to see the word sister wife in a sentence. Like,
Yeah. New to TLC this fall, Izanagi and Izanami.
oh, that'd be cool. I like the idea.
Yeah, so I am down for fun, creative villains that are not rehashes, please.
Yeah. Well, at Bakuman22 said, it's like I could feel everyone collectively groan when we saw the preview for this week's episode. Everyone's so sick of Taichi. I struggled to think of a main character people hate as much as Tai in another show, certainly not Deku, Goku, Rinku, I don't know who Rinku is,
I
or
don't know
even Ash
either.
Ketchum. What's the root problem with Taichi and why hasn't it affected the other kids as much? When I looked up Rinku, the only thing I find was D4DJ, which is a recent show.
I mean, I don't know about other people, but I never liked Ash Ketchum either. I also though I don't like main characters in anything. I don't like Harry Potter. I don't like Ash Ketchum. I don't like many main characters. Yeah,
Yeah.
Sora in Kingdom Hearts, don't like Sora.
Yeah, I mean Sora is like the bland viewpoint. Like he's the window you see through the world, but
Yeah.
like
Now Aqua is quality.
hmm, I mean compared to like Riku or Roxas or Axel, I mean maybe she's like fifth. I'll give you that. But yeah, I agree with you that like usually the main character is like the most bland, which this
Hmm.
show shares in common with that. But like I think it's less egregious usually. Like I don't think it's not common to play Kingdom Hearts and be like, oh my god, so much Sora, you know?
Yeah.
Like so I think that just comes down to execution. Like
Yeah.
I guess if people are listening to this after they've seen the video, like one of the points I was trying to make in this week's video was that like Taichi was also really prominent in the original series. Like a lot of people I've seen refer to the original series as like, oh, it was a full ensemble show. Like everyone got equal weight. There really wasn't a main character. And like, no, Taichi wasn't the main character.
Yeah.
Like he got more focus episodes. He's the one who goes back to Odaiba. He gets a full arc in the wake of Skull Greymon that no one else
Hmm.
really gets. That's like basically 5 episodes in a row that are all have him reaching a pivotal
Yep.
emotional moment in those 5 episodes. So it's like Taichi, but like most people realize that he was a main character, but they don't
Hmm.
complain about it the way that they do in this series because it's like he's there a lot and he's hollow. And
Yeah.
like I think One Piece has this too, where like Luffy is not the most interesting character for most people,
Hmm.
but like he's not so bland, you know? Like
Yeah. I don't think I think it's more like you're saying like with like the hollow thing, but I was like part of me was like maybe it's because Taichi was such a prominent focus of the original that like people are just like sick of it. But at the same time though, like if I look at the series standalone anyway, Taichi feels more developed than Sora, but less developed than a normal main character.
yeah,
Um yeah.
yeah, like even though he got that all that development in the original show, like it's still not like necessarily the most interesting, you know, like
Yeah.
but like also like the stretches of the show where everyone complained about it being the Taichi and Yamato show or
Yeah.
Frontier that people complain about being the Takuya and Koji show.
Yeah.
Like our war game was definitely like the Taichi and Yamato show, but no one complains about it that way because it was good. It was executed well, and I guess Kosher was also there a little bit.
Can I tell you though how annoyed I was in our war game that Mimi was in Hawaii?
Yes, yeah,
I was just like, how dare you leave any female characters out of this fight? Thanks.
yeah. Okay, yeah, okay. As a side note, the fact that the three main characters, it's the three main characters and Joe, which also seems pretty. It's sexist. It's gross. Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah,
100%.
cause like Hikari's at the birthday party. Mimi is in Hawaii. What was Sora doing?
Sora was like, like having an argument with Taichi, so she didn't like they weren't communicating.
Oh yeah, that was why. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so yeah, that's really frustrating. But like that's like almost a footnote for the movie. It's like even people who Like I haven't really seen people who are like, our war game sucks because of that.
Oh
It's more
yeah, no, not
like,
at all. Like I liked it. Don't get me wrong, and I liked it even more that the first time I saw it was, 1 week was in it, and all these other great like songs that don't match it, But
yeah, like Kokomon dancing to Smash Mouth.
yes,
Oh boy. Um, and but also like the recent Kizuna movie, like is definitely the Taichi Yamato show, but it's when that's done well enough, it doesn't.
yeah, no, like Kizuna, I was like crying at the end. It was done very well. Like I really enjoyed Kizuna, despite like some of its like you know things that weren't executed the best. I don't know. I liked Kizuna. I thought it was good.
Yeah, I occasionally just load up the song that plays during the final sequence and just like don't full on cry, but like cry inside hearing that song
Yeah.
again. Oh, so good. And I am rewatching it this week for a thing that people
Ooh.
should keep their eyes peeled. We were talking off mic about what that phrase actually is. It is eyes peeled, right?
Yes, it is eyes peeled.
Okay, not ears peeled.
Not ears peeled. Don't peel your ears.
Yet I will not pay for the medical bills if you peel your ears. I'm sorry.
Do you know what I realized though? Is I think part of the reason why I cried watching Kizuna this time around was because after getting a pet, it feels so much more emotional thinking like they're your best friends, but also kind of your pets, but like
Oh,
in like they're your friends, but like I don't know, like the growing up and like the Digimon not being there and then feeling like they're dying. Oh no, it was very much in the feels. I was like, oh no, I don't want to think about my pet dying.
yeah. That movie is too real.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I guess in conclusion, it's like it feels like a cop out, like a non-answer, but it all comes down to execution and whether the focus of a character feels natural
Mm-hmm.
or forced. Kizuna feels a little bit forced. It's like, okay, it's this thing is mainly happening in Taichi and Yamato. That's convenient. They are
Mm-hmm.
the most prominent main characters as well.
Mm-hmm.
Convenient that that keeps happening to the most prominent main characters and the most marketable main characters,
Mm-hmm.
and never the female characters. Convenient, but
Though, can I say the scene of Agumon finding Taichi's stash? That is
yeah,
perfection.
yeah, that was certainly a thing. But yeah. So in conclusion, I have no conclusion.
Yeah, yeah. I have no conclusion either. That the Taichi show feels hollow this time around, but will we get development in the next question mark number of episodes to make us feel something for Taichi? Who knows? But all I know is I'm excited for more Digivolutions, Digimon Power to Champions. There we go.
Yeah, just give us flashy things, give us battle animation, and we'll be
Yes.
happy. Well, on that note, how would you rate this episode?
All right, so we're gonna rate it out of Algamons,
Which ones? The babies or the?
the babies, because they're cute.
Okay, yeah,
All right, and so we have five Algamon.
5. Yeah,
Five Algamon. All right, I would give it 3 Algamon out of 5.
I feel bad because I I shouldn't agree with my guests so often. Like just by like random chance, we should disagree more. But yeah, I was about to say 3.
Yeah, I mean, like, was it a bad episode? No. Was it as good as some of the other ones I've seen? No. It was an average episode, so I feel it gets like an average Algamon score. I mean, it's not gonna get Hot Bishonen Algamon because that's a perfect score. So
3 little derpy Agumon. And for my MVP, oh wait, sorry, no question. Happy Shonen Agumon, definitely.
oh, that's your MVP?
Yeah.
My MVP is Tailmon not being able to count to 20 in the onsen.
Yeah, that's relatable.
I mean, if you've soaked in a real good onsen, you know why Tailmon is just like, I'm gonna stay here and chill. Also, Tailmon was like, hey, next episode, I have to do work, so I'm gonna
Yeah,
relax in the onsen.
she could feel the work coming up and was like, nope. I appreciate that like she was the most serious character for a while, and now she gets some time to goof off.
Yeah, I feel like all right, so this is, keep in mind, this is like very old memories, but I feel like my impression of Tailmon was always very serious, and so besides like a couple funny things, so getting like funny quirky Tailmon I enjoy.
Yeah, yeah, she had so much like trauma in the original series that,
Yeah. Wizardmon, rest in peace.
well, this episode was pretty. had a really high percentage, like the Twitter polls I've been doing had a pretty high percentage of 2-star or lower votes, but still
Mm-hmm.
not as high as the onsen one.
Wait, the onsen one had a large amount of 2-star votes?
Yeah, it was pretty controversial.
Looking at I'm looking at the graphs right now. How in the world is it lower than Dive to the Next Ocean? Because that was the worst
Yeah.
episode.
Well, I think so. Did you not find the onsen episode like vaguely gay panicky?
I mean, vaguely, but I was just looking at it humorous, like, oh no, Gomamon, you don't want to be this Shogun Gekkomon's like bride. I mean, I guess I can see the gay panicky like now that I think about it, but I wasn't watching it with that lens. I was watching with like, oh no, we've got to save Gomamon
Yeah, I think a lot of
lens.
people were like, even if they weren't thinking of the gay panic angle, they were like thinking of the like gross out humor being like not their cup of tea. But
Yeah, I mean, like, was it a great episode? Not the greatest, but do I think it's anywhere near or worse than Dive to the Next Ocean? Absolutely not. That is my least favorite episode of this entire series, and I will fight to the death to defend that title of being the most pointless episode. Let's fall for 20 minutes.
yep, and also how did they fall? Why did they fall? No one even questions that or
I feel like every episode I've been on here, I've talked about how much I dislike that episode.
I I feel like I'm screaming into the void because like like I listen to like other Digimon podcasts. I've been like watching other Digimon review videos and stuff. I don't hear anyone complaining about how they fall from the sky for no reason. Like they just fall off a continent. They're a giant turtle and they fall off a continent.
hmm
How? Did it just open up? Was it like a hatch? Like just a valve? They just
What they did was they thought, you know what we need? We need an episode that does nothing for 20 minutes. So let's just animate them falling.
yeah. Well, I mean, you don't need to animate them falling, just a little bit of hair in the breeze,
Yeah.
and then like the clouds moving by, and then there you go.
Yep, that was the call it in episode.
And they also committed genocide for good measure.
Yep, genocide.
You love to see it. Well, speaking of genocide, next week, Hikari New Life. It seems like it's going to be a not quite a primary village or village of beginnings episode, but like
hmm
maybe kind of. It seems like well, I guess the preview didn't make it as explicit, but it seems like it's probably going to be the like forest that formed from Petaljamon's corpse, and Hikari and Angemon have to protect them, the eggs.
I'm excited for the episode. I hope it's going to be something cool. Also, I've reflected on my comments about Hikari, and I need to rewatch Adventure 2 in Japanese so that I can give an honest impression of her character because I was basing it on Four Kids, not Four Kids, Four Kids? Fox, the
Fox
dub,
Kids, Saban,
Fox
yeah.
Kids, the Saban dub, memories of that dub. So, do I remember everything about her character? No. So, I shouldn't call her a cryptid. That's a little mean.
Yeah, I think I also have not. I don't think I've seen all of Zero Two in Japanese at any point, but like everything I hear about her Japanese version is like it's so subtle that like I'm worried even without watching a dub to be
hmm
blink and miss it.
Hey, now though, we could create a new podcast where we rewatch Zero Two in Japanese.
Mm. I when you started saying "Hey now" and I was like, "I'm an all-star? What?
Yeah,
What?"
get your game on, go play. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for them to like actually see the lore of how digi eggs work in this universe.
Yeah, yeah, I'm excited to see that as well because I remember when we first did the podcast, we were asking like, how did Digimon, do we not have the eggs this time around? So I'm excited to see how this goes.
Yeah, and it seems like a thing that I thought would have been an obvious thing to work into the series, considering the card game has the Digitama as a prominent element.
hmm
But I guess they got around to it eventually. Well, all right, that brings us to the end of the show. This episode of Podages was brought to you by Yagami Taichi. Have you ever thought my life could use some more Yagami Taichi? Well, here's some more Taichi. Taichi 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 Taichi. Taichi Taichi Taichi. Last week's Digiprompt was in honor of Kreskurumon and Panchamon. What existing Digimon would you want to see one of the main adventure partners digivolve into just from finding an item lying around? There were lots of great answers. Some of my favorite runner-ups were Dak and Jackster mentioned Gomamon finding some ice skates and becoming Rinkmon. And at Winkle Sprinkles mentioned Wormmon finding a Blu-ray of Stardust Crusaders and becoming Von Stingmon, which I also love. My favorite response was from at Connor EFMG, who is the host of Memory Gauge podcast, a Digimon TCG podcast. He mentioned Agumon finds a My Chemical Romance CD and digivolves into Black War Greymon starting his emo phase, which I would love.
That's great.
But this week's Digiprompt is, what scenario from any season of Digimon do you think would be improved by replacing the main cast with dozens of Taichis? And you can send any feedback to podages@gmail.com, to @podages on Twitter, or in the episode comments on podages.com. And check out the show notes to find a link to join our Discord server, and share the podcast with your friends who can't pick you out from a lineup of fake clones if your life literally depends on it, but at least will kill all of your clones, I guess. And if it's your first episode, you can also find us on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever else you find podcasts. Aaron, thank you so much for coming back on the show.
I am so glad to be back, and we have broken the curse, and it's not a Mimi-centric episode, but I would love to be back for another Mimi-centric or non-Mimi-centric episode in the future.
Yeah, now we know what we lost. This could have been a Mimi-centric episode. We could have had it.
Yeah, we could have had it all.
Well, if people want to find you online, where can they check you out?
You can find me on the Prodigious Discord server at Zephyrkaze. You can also find, or I guess it's not an ad on that. Well, whatever. My name's the same on there as it is on Twitter, which is at Zephyrkaze. Yeah, that's where you can find me.
And if you like Grand Blue, join our crew in Grand Blue.
Yes, I would love new members. You can be any rank as long as you believe in the heart of the cards. As long as you believe in Digivolve Power to Champions. As long as you believe in fun and friendship.
Well, I am definitely Jeff on Twitter, and if you're into general anime, check out my anime podcast, Love It or Leave It, where I am, well, it'll come out a couple weeks from now, but currently watching a ton of Cowboy Bebop, which I've never seen before, and I'm scared I will disappoint people, because I don't think it's the best thing ever. But anyway, stay tuned if you want to hear our thoughts on the titles and synopses up through episode 60. But otherwise, thank you everyone for listening, and I'll be back next week to talk about episode 58, Hikari, New Life. Bye.
Bye.
And remember, never stop digivolving. 'Okay, so now we're going to be talking about the titles and synopses for episodes 58, 59, 60. I'll have a link in the show notes where you can check out these if you want to see them. But yeah, next week is about Hikari.
Yeah, for Hikari's synopsis, I read Petal-Dramon as Pail-Dramon, and I was like, oh?
That would be exciting. But yeah, it looks like it's explicit they're going to be returning to Petal-Dramon. I like to not read these synopses super carefully because I want there to be some surprise still.
Yeah.
But then the next week is Electric Light Hercules Kabuterimon.
Yay, finally Kloshiro gets to do Megaform.
I'm kind of curious about that one because it's airing on August 1st in Japan, and I figured it would be like a more seminal, Digimon, like anniversary kind of episode for an August 1st episode. But it seems like it's just Kosho's Mega Evolution.
I'm honestly surprised that they haven't taken a hiatus during the Olympics or anything, or done any sort of scheduling. Because I know that this week they have 3 days off for Olympic ceremonies, or 2 days off, I guess. My partner doesn't have to work tomorrow. And
like the whole, like everyone's work? It's just like a national holiday?
Yeah, like national holiday because it's the Olympics. They kind of switched around Sports Day and other things, I think, if I remember correctly, or Uminohi, I don't remember, but regardless, the national holidays they've made it like coincide with the Olympics.
Interesting. I mean, not that Japan should be hosting Olympics right now, but hopefully there's not a huge fallout from that.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Maybe Kloshiro will get, Tentamon to Hercules Kabuterimon by exercising.
Yeah. And the next one after that is Vikemon, Conqueror of Glaciers.
Yes.
Yeah. That's what we've all been waiting for. So I guess that means Joe's gonna be the last one.
I mean, it might have been good for me to join that week for the episode because he runs into Mimi and Palmon, but
Yeah, that seems like. I mean, that's a good pairing. That's like the classic.
that is the classic pairing. I enjoy their antics together. It's very funny.
Also, it looks like it's. So, have you seen Cross Wars? I forget.
I have not seen Cross Wars.
Okay, because it looks like they're going to run into a group of pirates run by or led by Olegmon, who is I think he's like a one-off episode in Cross Wars, but he has like a
Mm-hmm.
song or a chant, and it's been stuck in. I haven't rewatched Cross Wars since I first saw it in 2011, and it's been stuck in my head since. So I'm kind of scared for no chant.
Oh, it looked like looking at Olegmon, that looks like a very fitting enemy for Vikemon fight.
Oh
I
yeah, yeah.
I enjoy that.
He is kind of like a golden Vikemon almost.
Viking adjacent.
Yeah. Is he like Norse mythology?
I'm not sure. I'll have to look at.
Oh yeah, apparently the like the namesake Oleg of Novgorod is a Viking leader. So
Mm-hmm.
that's fitting for Vikemon. I also like how the Wikimon description for that etymology says like from Oleg of Novgorod, a semi-legendary Viking leader. Like
Mm-hmm.
only semi-legendary. That's some shade.
Yeah, I do kind of feel like Plesiomon looks more like Gomamon, but I also like Vikemon, so
Yeah,
that's fine.
and it would be cool. Well, I don't know. I'm not the biggest Plesiomon fan.
Like, I just want it not to only be Hikari, Takeru, Taichi, and Yamato. They get multiple megaforms.
Yeah.
I am intrigued, though, to see what they're going to say to be like, and Ofanimon and Serafimon are here.
Do you think that because I don't think the synopsis yet doesn't for next week doesn't mention Ophanimon at all. Do you think that Ophanimon's going to appear?
I don't think that Ofanimon will appear just yet. She might, but I think probably it'll be a later episode.
It just seems weird if there's only 66 episodes, which who knows, but like it does line up with there being some kind of it seems like there's some kind of show filling the time slot at least in
Mm-hmm.
October, which would line up around 66 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
For Akari to get an episode 58 and that not like she's gonna get another one. Maybe she gets this episode on her own, and then later Ofanimon debuts along with
Serafimon or
yeah,
something. Yeah,
yeah.
because like my thought was it might be something similar to the Holy Dramon and God how they both came in a pair.
Mhm.
Maybe we could have another pair episode. Like I guess kind of feels bad for like Takeru and Hikari fans who want like solo episodes for both of them to get their megas, but that could be what happens, or it could be something as simple as like we need them on an episode to get closer to having Omega Mon again.
Yeah, I feel like they've gotten enough development and episodes themselves, especially if they're getting one. Like Akari's getting one next week. That
Yeah.
like they don't need them for their mega,
Yeah.
so that could work.
Yeah. I just want more development for I guess honestly, like I wonder if you put not to go on Sora again. If you put every moment Sora has appeared in this season of adventure, how would that even be enough minutes for an episode minus her one episode with Holmon?
I mean, she got that episode where she kicked a soccer ball.
That's true. Yeah, that there was, and there was the fruit Greymon, which I still think should be an official Digivolution. But yeah, no, I really maybe one day we'll get a Digimon series where everyone has equal. No, we won't, but I can believe it in my heart.
I at least want one where like the gender ratio is equal. Like the
Yeah,
fact that adventure is the best we get with 3 out of 8, and then I guess
yeah,
try is 4 out of 9.
yeah,
Still, like I just I know Digimon is traditionally a boys franchise, and they
yeah.
target it to boys, but like they're like stuff like Haikyuu being a runaway success in Shonen Jump shows that like
Mm-hmm.
you can make something that channels the quote unquote boy spirit but is also
Yeah.
very appealing to women, and that women
Yeah.
enjoy much more than, or girls enjoy much more than boys. Like,
Yeah.
you don't need, I don't know, marketing. I think marketing's evil. That's the
Marketing is like,
the moral of the story. Oh, well, that's our thoughts, I guess. All right, we're trepidatiously excited. I realized putting this at the end, I don't have a natural breaking point for when I actually stop the recording. So, bye.